I'm getting into trouble. Whoops. What was... It still sounds cool. Oh my gosh. Okay. Let's shrink this down a little bit. Hello. Welcome to a new live stream. I'm your host, John Skippy Lim. Hands together, head bowed. I appreciate all of you. Welcome. Hey, so we are playing with a new, really inspiring library. I believe Fred will be in the chat if he hasn't already. Welcome, guys. Let's see here. Yeah, Fred's there. Hi, Fred. Fred is in the Paris, France region, and has made a really interesting, fun library for Dune 3. I'm playing it right now inside of Unify because we can take it farther inside of Unify by layering 9 different call-ups of different patches from this library to make really cool what we call multis. And there's 7 of those that go beyond the 224 that are in 223, I think, that are in the library. Also, on top of that, when you call up these patches, every single one in Unify has artwork assigned to it. So when you're playing the patches, you can actually go into the artwork instead of the interface if you want. And play with a more immersive experience. So everything you come up with in this library, if you go to Operabotic, it's a robot singing. You have no, it's just perfect. It's like so perfect. There's AI for you. That's AI in its purest form happening. Anyway, so welcome to you all. It's great that I was actually surprised overnight how many copies of this have sold. There's a lot of you that have Dune 3. Dune 3 is a seriously cool synth. Maybe we'll take a minute to look at Dune 3, give you an overview for those of you that are like, well, I don't own Dune 3. Do I need to own D3 or Dune 3? What advantages does it have? Versus other synthesizers and other companies and so forth. Synapse Audio, the company behind Dune 3, has been around for a long time. One of my favorite synthesizers, like 25 years ago, was called Scorpion. And it was from Synapse Audio, and it's no longer available. But it was just the most wonderful filters. It just was this one. It's so good, so good. So a lot of that spirit has been put into Dune 3, and it's a powerhouse. It's able to play 8 separate patches. It's very much like Omnisphere in that it's able to be this whole complex universe, if you want, for one sound. And so it's been taken to all sorts of cool ways. I thought I had it when I bought the library today. Oh, no. Well, now, most companies have some sort of Black Friday sales and stuff like that. So right around the corner, if you don't own Dune 3, I believe also I've seen people talking about going to Plug-in Boutique or going to THUMP ONE or checking other websites to find discounts. I don't know who has the best discounts. Maybe some of you guys might have, but I thought M1. Yes. So here's the thing. And we'll talk about this because I'm going to have to make this as like a little tech support thing to send to customers. If you want to play the Unify patches, it has to use the VST2 version of Dune 3 because Fred, God bless his sweet heart, used the VST2 version on his PC. unaware that on the Mac, the newest build of Dune 3 does not include a VST2 version. So you have to install the previous version and then install the new version. So that way you have a VST2 that is compatible to work. And then we have to load it in Rosetta mode because there is no Intel silicone. There's no Apple silicone. Thanks, Apple. I mean, we have Intel, Motorola, now Apple silicone processors, all used in computers over the years for Apple computers. Talk about a roller coaster ride. As a developer now, I'll tell you, I understand why Apple does what they do, but I don't like that they do what they do. It's not fun. A lot of the time that Shane could be developing new things for you guys for Unify have been spent trying to solve all these problems with Apple processors. That's what a huge amount of the last 4 months have been spent on. So thank you, Apple, very much. Appreciate it. If you don't have Dune 3, I will introduce it to you in a minute. Let me show you the library really quick. I just did a video walkthrough yesterday that is up that takes you through the library. By the way, my name is John Limcool. I'm glad you're here. Fred Nongot in the chat is the gentleman that created this. I invited him to come on to talk in person, and he felt it'd be better just to sit there and chat away. But I do have 2 patches I must show you. So there's all of these patches. The categories go bass lines into these bonus. These are really crazy patches, these deepers. Here's the interface for Dune 3. We'll get more into this in a minute. Some of these other ones. Just crazy. There we go. It's a cool patch. So this is using, as you can see, 4 different patches. Each of these patches, you click right here to select which one you want to be working on. And as you can see, you have oscillators with different forms of synthesis. You have a mixer between 3 oscillators with ring modulation and noise per each of these layers. So it's very powerful. You can hit the all button, which lets you modify all the parameters. You have 2 different effect buses down here, and you can click to change the order of them. There's reverb, delays, chorus, phasers, EQ. You can, I think there's a way you click on the little triangle here or something. This is the default, large, small. I think you can choose different effects. Like if you double click this or right click, no. I haven't used this for programming. I haven't, until I make a library, I really don't necessarily get super deep in some of these instruments. And this is one I have not. This is actually the first library we've released for Dune 3. But it's powerful, very, very powerful. The thing about Dune 3 is that they have a number of really great libraries. Kevin Schroeder, a German programmer who is a wonderful programmer, very, very talented, is behind the voicing for Dune 3. And his work is on, if you're into any dance, trance, pop, EDM, his patches have been used on everything. I mean, he's very talented. So you have, let's see, let's go to, let's see, Dune 3. Go into like the sequences. Somehow he's got these, where is it? If we go, let's see, The World of Cinematic is a library he did. Let's check out some of the sequences here for the, this is where you get into the, got a really great sound. Cool cinematic things and so forth. Well, as you can see, we have Subsonic Arts. Sounds of Arrakis is here. So all of the patches are available for the library when you install it right here in the interface, just like everything else. These go through all sorts of things. Here's these really cool scene things. There's that error that pops up every now and then. I think that's because I'm using the older version of Dune, although I could, if I wanted, I can go here and say Dune and get the VST3 version, and then when I play the patches, that message doesn't pop up. Sounds of Arrakis, all patches. If we go down to the scenes, I don't think that message pops up now. So the library is available to play straight from Dune, right? Yeah, psychedelic trip. See, it doesn't pop up the error message. But if you go over here to Unify, we also have these patches saved in Unify format. So we could go to scenes. This was, I think, hallucinations. Was it? Or this was psychedelic trip. So here it is. Only now, inside of Unify, we have all sorts of macro controls assigned to things. So you can immediately start automating these in your DAW, which is really cool. And also, every patch, like I showed you earlier, has artwork. So you have images inside of Unify for all the patches. So when you call up Sanctuary, you have a sound that tells you what Fred was thinking about when he made this patch. Really cool. It's cool. Since these sounds are not trying to describe anything we're familiar with on this planet, because it's based on Frank Herbert's Dune universe, right? To have images that kind of like go into that kind of universe in a cool way, I don't know how Fred pulled it off. In fact, check this out. If you have the Unify version, if you right click, you can say reveal in Finder, and it will show you the library. If you right click, you can go to the Subsonic Arts, and there's a media folder, and right here are the images. Now check this out. The count of the library is 230 patches. If you open up images, there's 288 images. So there are like 53 images that are not even used in the library. So if you want, you can just hit this, go through a preview, and check out all of these incredible images that were created for this library. Let me get it so you can see the full thing without it cutting off on OBS. Shrink it down just a little bit. But these are just incredible artworks. Fred used Midjourney, which is an AI application. You use text, and you can get very specific. And the more specific you are, the more it will give you what you're looking for. It's, for those of you that haven't seen it in action, it's incredible what you can do. So all of these images, there's 288 images in the Dune universe. There's some incredible portraits, the board, the ships. I mean, where's one of them? Oh, I love this one. I mean, that just looks like one of the generals from the movie. I mean, just crazy. And there's a couple of these portraits. Let's get to one where it's the eyes. Bob, I mean, he did just like this. Check that out. I mean, like, hello. Ah! You know, and what patch is this for? We don't know because it's not named that way. But incredible artwork, taking the concept to such a wonderful degree. And if you want to see these images and you don't have Unify, let me show you how you could actually get to them. And then let's see. So here's the library when you download and unzip it, right? And if you go to the Unify folder and you go here, and instead of a .guru file, you change it to a .zip and say use zip. And now you can unzip it. And inside will be the libraries, Arrakis, and here's that media folder with all the images. So you can get to them even if you don't install this inside a Unify, just by changing the .guru to a .zip, and then you can put the library and open it up, unzip it, etc., stuff like that. So you can have access to those. Now, let me cover really quickly. This is for tech support. If you want this to work on newer Apple computers, you have to use the VST2 format of Dune 3. And unfortunately, the newest version, 3.55, does not come with a VST2 formatted plugin. I don't know why companies are doing this. I'm seeing this as a trend, and it's very worrisome to me. But you would have to go to Synapse Audio. Let me take you through the steps here. Let's say, let me go to support, log in to my user area. Okay, so for Dune 3, here are the files you can download. You will want to download the latest version, which is up here, which is 3.55, and you'll also want to download 3.41. And then what you do is you will install 3.41 first, and that will install a VST2 format as well as an audio unit and a VST3 format. And then you can download and update your Mac with 3.55. And this will replace the audio unit, and it will replace the VST3 with the newest version for your DAW to be able to work with it. But it will also make it so when you go over here to the plugins, and you can, there's so many different ways to get it. But if you say select plugin files to scan, you can go to your VST folder and say Dune and load it this way. And then say select plugin file to scan. And now this time go to the VST3 folder and say Dune and load that if you want to have both. But you have to have, so that when you go to the plugin list and you go down to Dune, when you get to Dune, it needs to say, where's it at? Dune. It has to say Dune 3 VST, and it's 3.4.1 because they don't have a 3.5.5 that's VST. So unfortunately, those are the steps required to get the Unify patches to work, and I apologize for that. I'm going to talk to Shane. Shane is on a bit of a hiatus. He got away. He's done actually more like a vacation with his wife. I'll talk to him when he gets back. I don't think he's here, so I don't see anything here. So yeah. So yes. So that's the process to get so that these patches work. You need the VST2 format, and then we use the tricks that we do in technology to get Rosetta patches to work. This way you could use it in your DAW, in Unify, in Apple Silicon format, and still load these patches using Rosetta to the VST. And the processor load is not that massive. It's not huge. So it works. So that's how we can get it to work. So I just... Oh, yes. And if you guys do have time to write a review, as Fred is saying, that would be wonderful. There you go. The library works with 3.4.1 for sure, I know, because the patches are working in 3.41. I'm not sure what version. I don't know what version Fred used on the PC. But just that's how to get it to work on the Mac side. And the PC side, there shouldn't be an issue because the VST2 is installed when you install Dune 3. Again, it's the Synapse Audio website for this. Yeah, and there you go. So this is a library with 224 patches. They go from, like we said, there's BL is baseline. BO is bonus patches that were created as a bonus thank you at the end when he had a little extra time. The base patches are Chris Knife. Very cool. The door, these are downers and risers, so aftertouch. There's all sorts of different. Right? Effects, these are more just setting an atmosphere. Impulse control. Aftertouch. You have to picture that a lot of these sounds are meant to be components that you would put together to make a scene, right? So you could use that along with some environmentals and a couple other things. Ornithopter. Yeah. Big. Helicopter bag. Sometimes if you move the knobs, you do break the patches, just so you know. Wow. I want to know how he got such great close-ups. Fred, I got to talk to you about that, because that's really cool to do that kind of level of close-up and have great detail. Make sure you use aftertouch on all of these. There's all sorts of things hidden in there. There's some really great leads. The multis, this is where we want to show you. This is Fred in action. He actually put his face into So Fred in the Dune universe. So there's that. There's also the Dune Stole Skippy, where I have my own image implanted into an image for that's right. Don't mess with me, man. So, we are in the library. That's pretty fun. And then there's pads, some really, really cool pads for the really... Right? Great stuff. I have to ask Fred. Hey, Fred, did you use an image replace in Midjourney to use an artwork for... Hey, Insole, that's cool. Oh, swap face. Okay. Yeah, Fred definitely went to a different planet and has brought us along for the journey. So like I said, if you go to the, I'll do a little, make sure I've logged out. Yeah, so if you go here, sounds that will take you here is pretty accurate. This is definitely a library that is all about sounds that you've not heard before, describing a planet you've not seen before, but we've seen in some films, right? Because the Dune universe is such a... I can't wait for Dune 2. I know some people that are doing some of the sound design, and it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. So that's what this library is for. It's like new inspiration, right? Moving the mod wheel goes to a harmonic. And the God Emperor. Oh, these are the pulses. Really great. Malfunctions. You know, it's one thing to get a synth to do, you know, nice pads and leads and stuff, but to get to where you're getting into these kind of intricate details, that takes a lot of programming time to figure out and understand what you're manipulating in the engines. Good stuff. Right? So it goes on and on and on. Video walkthrough is available for you to watch if you would like to see more information about this library. It's at an incredibly reasonable asking price. Actually, the retail price for this of $39 is a steal, but it's at 40% off, so it's $23, which is, I don't know if it's exactly 40% off, but we agreed on $23. Play Dream of Arrakis. Okay. Oh, the demo songs? Let me see. Or is that a Dream? Oh, Dream of Arrakis Rhythm. Okay. Aftertouch. Will take you to some really interesting places. In fact, let me show you a demo, and I will actually do this. I will play you the full demo. This is a demo I did called Dune Warrior. Let me play it. Let's see, I gotta have this open, and here we go. Using 6 patches from the library. Yeah. So I used freeze to freeze the parts to make sure I could play this while streaming, while doing everything else that I'm doing. I can turn off freeze now so I can show you the... Hi! Just don't... Thank you. So this is a fun demo, and I will point out that this is literally using either this library in Dune 3 or most everything else aside from 2 other parts are coming from the free Spitfire Audio Labs plugin and samples. I will show you those. I'll show you what I use for this. The only thing that costs money beyond Dune 3 and Unify and this library is I did use, let's see here on the rhythm parts. I think I have to open this up a little bit higher so I can get to hear hammers from Spitfire Audio for the rhythmic percussion. So all of this stuff is coming from hammers. As you can see, there's this plugin that's called the God Particle that I use a lot. It's really, really cool at gluing things and giving presence and so forth. It's crazy. I mean, check it out if you want. I used it after the LA2A. Here's without these 2 components. So I'm seriously compressing the heck out of it. So here we'll get to the groove part right here. Now I'll turn it on. So here's a God Particle just to sweeten it, but it's actually the LA2A that's... This is like one of my favorite plugins on the planet. It's the LA2A from Universal Audio. Here's without it. Just gives it this girth, just crazy power, right? So that's in there. On top of that, the other components, well, to start with, it's using a multi from Unify, which is right here. This is calling for the worms and all that kind of stuff. Oh, I've got the other Unify down here running, so let's turn this down so we don't... So if I wanted to, I could just solo these guys here. So it's doing this part. If you add the drums, right? And those drums, the kicks. That kick drum is actually inside of here by bringing up a mod macro to control. And it's this factory patch. When I do these demos and I'm using factory patches, one of the biggest rules, you don't change the patch, because you guys are going to write and say, hey, you said you use this patch, but it doesn't sound like it. So it's a big priority to make sure I'm using the patches as they are shipped in the library. So this is exactly how it comes in the library for you to play. On top of this, there's another patch from inside of Dune, Sands of Arrakis. This patch right here, I had it played in from Unified. It's called Cyber Cycle. It sounds like this. Let's see, I gotta go over here. That's it. But combine that with the bass. Let's see, let's get all 3 of these here to play. Gives us some, like, something else is going on there. The other thing that's happening in there from the Spitfire Audio Labs library there is a vocal library called Gaelic Voices. And if you don't have this, this is the best value, bar none, is, well, Spitfire Labs, everybody should own, but the Spitfire Audio Labs Unified Library for Unify is just insanely useful in so many ways. It's 613 patches. Every one of the libraries that Spitfire Audio has released has been unified. And the Gaelic Voices, I used them earlier or later for this part here. Right? And when you combine that with these two sounds, here, these sound incredible. So here is the pad Messiah from the Sands of Arrakis. Right? Now, there's a bonus Deeper 5 that is an oh my god patch. Listen to that. Listen, it's just, what? Put these two together. Then take this from Spitfire Audio Labs, which is the Gaelic Voices Ooh Risers. Put those three together and you have yourself something pretty special. Isn't that cool? Now, there's one other thing, this Gaelic Voices Falling. This is really cool, and I use it at the beginning and at the end. This is a patch, if you call this up. They fall down and they end on a pitch. Here, I'll turn it up a little bit so you can hear this. In the mix, when you combine this with the calling stuff and those big drums at the beginning, you end up with this really cool. And then the other library I am using, which I'm also using from within Unify because I couldn't automate it outside of Unify, and that's the free Miroslav Philharmonik library of brass. I'm using one of the brass patches. I'm using the Brass Octaves Multi, which just is, oh, let me, hold on a second. Get over here. Right here. Right? And I have it going through the God Particle and then into Valhalla Room for nice ambience. Here's without the reverb, so it's a little tame room. This needed to be like in the cathedral that you've never seen before. And then I couldn't get this parameter. Let's see here. Uh-oh, what's going on? Oh. Okay. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, it was just Shane. I thought maybe I was having a technical difficulty. So if you look at this, I wanted to control the swell parameter. And I tried recording it into Logic as just moving it, and it would not automate. And so I assigned it to a macro control knob. So I could, because brass don't play at one velocity, especially stuff like this. If you watch this part, let me play just the brass so you can hear what they're doing. It's a solo, so like that. So if you go over here and look at the knobs when it's playing, and here, let's open up Philharmonic so we can see it too. Here. And notice I'm also automating the volume to give it an even bigger crescendo. Right? So when we get all of that into the mix with everything else, it sounds like this. So you'll hear the brass. So the voices comes down, here's the brass. Right? So it just kind of fills it in nicely. Now for the lead section, I used, this is one place where I used, there is another another plugin I used. This is the, I thought it was a hard zoom up. I thought it was the wobbly zoom up, but maybe it's the hard, I guess it's the, I guess it's this one because it's the one I'm playing. And I just did this silly jamming melody. And then I layered it with 2 synth patches from the library lead category. So these 2 right here are A Keen and Faith in You are 2 patches from Sands of Arrakis. But it didn't sound realistic enough. I personally am a big fan of the combination of acoustic and something synthetic in there to mess things up in a way. So here it is without the, I can't remember the name of it exactly, Zerna, the hard Zerna. Here it is without that. I've muted it so you can hear. That's without it. Then here it is with it. And it might not sound like that much in the mix, but it makes a huge difference. It really does. Right? So when you put that in, let's see if I put that into the whole mix, a little bit louder. Right? So those are all the components that were used to make it. It was really fun to do. Good times. So I wanted to show you that demo. I didn't know I was going to go quite so in depth, but I wanted to show you how you can use all these free libraries that are out there, people just giving stuff away for free. The Philharmonic library is great. Highly recommend that for these brass and the strings, and there's just so much to it. It's just an incredible value for. There's a pipe organ, there's a grand piano. There's so much in that library for free that it's a no-brainer that if you own, even if you don't use Unify, I believe it's still available for free. It's supposed to be like $200, but I can't even remember if it's still available. I need to get back to chat. I haven't seen what you guys are talking about lately. That. So Philharmonic is one of those to get. Also, I can't speak highly enough for the just incredibly cool Spitfire Labs library. If we turn all this stuff off, so we just have the labs playing. Let's see. It's doing this thing where it's not automatically changing tracks on me. With the scattered voices. The dissonance type. You know, put that through processing, you get really cool vibe in your mix for things. I mean, there's so many great places as well as just. So that's what we have to offer to show you guys in that demo. Hope you like that. Next, I have a really cool synth to show you guys that has come out this week. This is from our friends at Sonic Charge, one of my favorite software companies. They make a number of plugins that I just absolutely adore. Microtonic is a rhythm. In fact, that's one of those libraries that I wanted to, let's see, go over here, Reveal and Finder. Give me 1 second to get, I wasn't sure I was going to show Microtonic, but now that I'm here, I'm like, yeah, I want to show Microtonic. So let's see if we go over here. Unified. Where is it? There it is. Microtonic. Here. Scroll to Unify. To libraries. And rebuild. Microtonic. Okay, so if we're over here on their page, Microtonic is this very cool, probably best drum synth plugin I can think of, flexibility wise. Plus, they've done some incredible modeling things to where now they've got analog rhythm emulations and so forth. But what we're going to talk about today is the new version of Synplant, which it was crazy before, but what it's doing now is on a whole different level, like you wouldn't believe. Anyway, let me show you just because I mentioned it. If we go Microtonic, this is something that's been unified, which means you can choose any of these patches. You can go over here, say Unify Layer, and just layer 20 of these. And then go over here and say duplicate links to all layers. I mean, it's insane, truly insane. If you get to their Sonatarium, let's see, they have this online web presence that can make grooves randomly, and then it play unbelievable rhythms. And then you can actually export those presets to load into Microtonic. It is, it's just, they have taken things to such great out of the box, with a simple interface. They even have, I believe the Microtonic is available as a handheld little bit speak thing. I have it around here somewhere. It's more than a typical one. So you have your rhythms and so forth, and as you choose each of the parts, let's see. Here's your different sounds. So if I click this, I'm now playing it, so I can go to I mean, you can get into such unbelievable fun and then sound morphing. I mean, there's so much to it. It's just insane. They have updated Synplant, and it is a wonderful, wonderful update. So let's go Synplant. Thank you to Microtonic for sending me an NFR license for this. Came this morning. They've been very, very busy with tech support. So the thing that Synplant is, and it ties in really cool since we're doing Signs of Life and the Sands of Arrakis and so forth, is that it's got this really cool representation of sound in a totally out there way of a piece of a plant. And as you play the note, you can actually click and drag and each note can be a different derivative Or if I go, ooh, I like that. You can right click on this and say clone this selected branch, and now all of the branches are that sound. And if you want, you can go into the DNA of the sound, and here you have it into filters and effects, oscillators, and if you click in one of these, you can then get to the parameters that represent what's going on. And you sort of have tools. But if you go through the patches, there's just some truly just, oh wait, let's see, go cancel. I keep clicking the wrong thing. I want to go back to the, out of the DNA. And click here. I'm in the current all folder, although if you say browse patches, they have them also broken up into different categories, creators. So if you wanted to, you could go to this. Flume is a really fun guy that's also an artist with some really great albums. He's made some cool patches. It's very chameleon, and what's fun at any time with any patch, you can just start. Ooh, I like that. Clone that to all the branches. It's a very out-of-the-box new way of synthesis. So that was Synplant 1.0 for the most part. They've added more parameters, and they've made this more accessible and a little bit more logical, but that's what it could do before. But now we get into GenoPatch, and this is where it gets just crazy, crazy, crazy. So let me see if you guys have any questions for what I've shown you so far. The Synplant 2 demo. Yeah, they give you 3 weeks, I believe, to play with Synplant without it doing any noise breakdowns or anything. So please go to the Sonic Charge website, download it and play with it. Go through the patches. If you want, you can right click and say grow new random branch. And each time you do this, you can also choose what you are seeing for what you're going to be controlling and so forth. It's just, it's very, very fun. So let's see here, volume, growth, plus, edit branch volume. Okay. So that's one way to go with this. The other way to go with this is new, is over here on the GenoPatch. And this is where you feed it a sample, and then it will create a whole bunch of variations for you. So I've got, let's see if I go here to the desktop. Let's go to my PlugInguru libraries. Let's take a cello sample. So let's go to these are samples of the cello from MegaMagic cello. So let's choose something like, let's do a pizzicato. Well, no, let's do a vibrato sample too, because this might be a little bit more useful. Let's go vibrato, crescendo. Let's do crescendo. Let's take that. So we're taking this sample. So we say load sample, and we're going to go over here and say, boom, MegaMagic cello crescendo. So it loads in the sample, and then you can choose the window that you want it to work from. So let's move this over here and like say we want this part, right? Kind of sounds cello-y. Then you click this button, boom. And it starts to just make, by all sorts of forms of analysis, just let us do its thing for a while, and you can stop or pause it at any time. And now any of these that you click is a patch. Based on that sample. And if I was to go back and say trash this, no, I want to start over, and I'm to like choose a different part of the sample, and then say, okay, go for it. It'll start making variations based, oh wait. And then stop this and turn off the ears. And then more, if you want to keep that, just turn this off, and now that is the sound inside of the plant. So if you go over here, we could say normalize branch volumes. So I have this really cool derivative sound from a cello sample. Isn't that crazy? Just think outside the box that far to where note and have it just be a little bit different from each other. Let's have a couple be way out there. So you can make this organic living patch where each note can have a little bit of. Anytime you play E flat, look out. So if you don't like E flat, change it. And you can do this genome experimental stuff to more than just tonal things. Example. Let me show you. Let's go over here to a drum loop. Here's a drum loop from Isaac Hayes. Let's see. Let's have it work with that. So we go over here. Let's bring in the drum loop. Open. And then we can choose what part of this we want to work with. Let's say we just want to have it take a snare and play with that. So you say, genome that, dude. And there's a tuning fork, so it's assigning it to a relative pitch, so it plays on the keyboard, so you could layer it with things and play right? It's just doing all sorts of, I don't know what it's doing. I believe they talk about there's some sort of AI analysis going on to create all of these different sounds. But I mean, if you want to get into making new sounds that nobody else has, here is this wonderful place to grow those types of sounds in really creative ways. So. And of course, then you just save the preset. Again, turn off genome, and now you're at a starting point where this is crazy. And I love when you get these things out here and then they all play. So if you're playing it, you know, it's Yes. And drag and drop directly the sample works too. Oh, okay. Cool. I didn't know that. So if we took a sample, let's do this. Let's try something that's more normal-esque. Let's use MegaMagic Dreams. No, I don't want that. I want the samples. Let's use something like, oh, okay. I can't use those. Okay, this is the K5 version. That's what it is. Okay. Here we go. So we could find like nice. Let's drag that over here, and it pops right into the editor. So it bypasses the stuff. So you just go directly into your genome creation. Actually, let's do this. Let's say start over at the hit trash, because I want to get the transient in here. So it's got that to play with. Build. So it's using a bell sample. Here's the original. And we're only using this tiny, small beginning part. It's really nice. Then you could go over here to the envelope and let's see. Envelope. So all sorts of fun experimental stuff can be done. It's a cool interface. It's very unique. There's nothing else really to compare to it and how it works. I love it. It's really, really fun. So the ability to take any of the patches that anybody has ever made and just have it at the starting point where I'm on D. Then right click and say clone to selected branches, and now they all are. And the transients. It's not like one sample up high and then you're playing it down low and it sounds sloshy. It's great, great. So there you go. Any questions from our little experimental stuff in here? The DNA spiral is fun too. Yes, that's where you can get into all these different components. You can actually just go into the genetics of it and see the list. And not even thinking about the parameters over here with the knobs, but actually just going over here, you can. And it does it to all the branches, it seems, which is really cool. So highly recommended, especially if you need something that gives you a unique signature sound and has an organic kind of vibe to it. Kick you good. If we go to patches by category, let's play some pads. Ivar asks, how many hardware synths do I have in my studio? I have probably 30, but a lot of them are in storage. A number of them are things that I cannot show anybody. I have mini synths all around me. I'm at least 30. Nice. So as you can see, it goes, it's not just, you know, 2 oscillators and a chorus, you know? Really, really nice. Very impressed. And then here you have control over other things in the sound. Let's see if we have filter. There's so much to this. I mean, I don't even know everything that's going on here, but standard velocity, ranges. Oh, cool. That's very cool. You can use this to choose whether it works by notes, or you can even have it be by velocity. So the 127 could be crazy. Can I quickly show Wavesequencer? Sure. Let's look at Wavesequencer. Any questions on Synplant too before we go in? I think I've shown you pretty much everything there. Wavesequencer. I don't even know if I have the newest version or activated this lately. Let's see here. Let me get over here and okay. Here is Wavesequencer. 2 friends of mine started this company and made this plugin. This is another deep dive type of a synth because it can, it's one of those where once you get into the editing of the parameters, which I have not been in here in a while, so I'm not going to get too carried away, but I believe, yeah, done. Let's see. There's an editor. Again, I done some work in here and I haven't lately, so it takes me a minute to get my head wrapped around the new instruments I'm looking at. So, oh, here, probably the parameters. There we go. Duh. So as you can see, this is a semi-modular with boatloads of parameters, modulation, effects. The effects can go into all sorts of really cool categories of processing in some really, really creative ways. It's great. You know, this is one of those that's for those of you that really want something where you can dive to incredible depths, because this has the ability for, I don't know how many envelopes. I believe you can expand and keep adding new processing and modulation sources and so forth. It was so deep. I was going to do some factory voicing for it, and I got back to Taiho and I said, dude, I'm lost. It's just, there's so much to it that it's, you got to be willing to put in some time to get into it. And but it's very fun. The things that are really fun with this has to do with just the fact that you can set up slices for each of these components to be different. I don't have it set this way right now, but if we go through some of these patches, maybe we'll come across one where it's been modulated in such a way where maybe I'm not looking at the right thing. Here we go. So we can get into these things where it's literally each phase can be divided up into small pieces and so forth. Sorry, Ivar, I just wanted to put you in a timeout, but I think I deleted your messages by accident or something. You know, it's nice that you want to talk all the time, but that's not necessarily what we want to do. So it's a great synth, but it gets deep into stuff. All right, so there's one more thing I wanted to do before we signed off for today. We still have Signs of Life SE, which I've been working on making something that we did for the I did for the Omnisphere version. Signs of Life, for those of you that don't know, is a library based on audio ambient recordings I did in Costa Rica, and then fed them into synthesizer engines to create all sorts of really cool pads based on insects inside of them. Well, in the Omnisphere version of this library, which is what originally came out, I had a partner library I released after it came out called Signs of Radioactive Life. And so I am making some radioactive patches. That will be included in the release, the bonus release. By the way, if you bought this library, there's a fix file that you need to install so that there's, I think, 1 BPM drum patch up here. Where is it at? I think it's a Z BPM drum, right? Down here. Yeah, the I think it was Tanker Drumbot. If you called this up, layer 2 was missing its sample. There's a fix. I think I have it in the video description here. Let me see. Library fix. That should still work. Let me make sure that works. Yes, that file works. So you can download. It's a .guru file that will fix the library. If you buy the library as of last night, it will have the fix in the file, so you don't need to do the fix. But anybody before last night, if you haven't and you want everything to work right, there's a couple of the environmental patches. Every environmental patch is connected to an interface, a picture. And there's, I think, 3 or 4 that I had not gotten the name files quite set up right. So they weren't right for showing the interfaces to the pictures. I'm still going to actually fix that file a little bit for the final version and try to get things that are a little bit more connected. So like this should be showing the Hummingbird battle picture and stuff like that. But I want to make, during our lifetime, let's try to get at least one made of these radioactive patches because they're really, really fun. The way to do this is I call it Omnisphere. And let me make sure I have Omnisphere powered up to work inside of OBS really quick. Yep, it is. So if we go over here to Signs of Life, it was actually a second library I did called Signs of Radioactive Life. For the Unify version, I'm just taking some of these patches and I'm putting them in the same library, just with a different moniker. They're just SORL, Sorrel. For, let's see if we go down here to SORL, right here, Signs of Radioactive Life. So let's do this. I'm going to go back to glowing green. And of course, I'm using cool colors and stuff like that. Let me turn this down and let's find one of the patches in the Radioactive library. Maybe a pad would be a fun place to go. And what this is basically trying to take, Omnisphere and Unify are different. Their character is different. So I'm just being inspired by these patches to make something in the, for example, just to give you an example, say we go to the bass, the Radioactive Mordor. Sounds like this. Inside of Unify, I have it sounding like this. So it's in a similar vibe. Glowing green. Here it is over inside of Omnisphere for its angry and glowing green. Right? So let's go to a pad and then we'll try to see, I'll show you guys how you could take, like looking at a patch, saying what's used. This is using Alien Pad and Galaxy Octaves. So that should be pretty easy to duplicate really quick. So we want to go over here. Let's go. We're in Signs of Life SE. We want to be Galaxy Octaves. So we go pads, Galaxy Octaves. We turn down Omnisphere. First thing is, am I in the same pitch register, right? So if I mute this. Okay, so it's an octave higher over inside of Omnisphere. So let's go over here and transpose it up 12. And I might want to do something where I use noise box. I'm going to use this as a high pass filter. So just a little bit of distortion. Here's without it. So I can use this to clean it up a little bit more. Okay. And then the other oscillator is inside is doing Alien Pad. So go over here, pad. I think Alien Pad might be a sound from, yes, that's a MegaMagic pads. I did a trick in the Omnisphere version of Signs of Life and snuck in a couple MegaMagic pad sounds. So if I wanted to, I could go empty layer. Let's change this to Guru Sampler. And in the standard library inside of MegaMagic pads, did I include Alien Landscape? I did not. Something similar to that might be found in Del Norte. Something like that. So as I said, these are inspired by, so I'm not committed to trying to make it sound exactly like the Omnisphere version. I just want we'll have a little growth. Let's see what that sounds like if we combine. Now, let's compare that to the Omnisphere version. This is Radioactive Silicone. And then inside of here, take it down an octave. And then I might want to actually duplicate this and take it up 7 more to give me a 5th. Maybe we'll go like... There we go. And then this low, you know, I might want a little bit more solid low end. So I'm gonna, let's see what we want to add. Let's do one more Guru sampler since they're so efficient. So we'll go empty layer. Let's go Guru sampler. And let's just put a sine wave in here to just tuck it in really quick. See how that gives it that foundation? Just a little bit. Let's get some effects on that in the sine wave. Right? I might want to put a chorus on the sine wave too for a little more motions. So yeah, that makes it blend a little bit nicer. Okay, so we're gonna save this as Science of Radioactive Live pad. And instead of radioactive silicone, glowing silicone. Okay. Now I'm going to copy this name. I'm going to show you something kind of cool. So save as, and I'll fill in all the details and stuff later, but go save as, save. Now I want it to have the radioactive artwork, right? Like these other, the artwork's changed. It's all red and stuff, whereas this is green. So how do we do that? I'll show you how we do that. So inside of the library, the rule is this. You add one image at 96 pixels by 96 pixels as a JPEG or a PNG, and every patch will have that artwork in this box right here. That's what shows up in the box. You just put it in the patches folder. If you want, you can go one level up and have a media folder. And if you really get carried away, you can do the links where you have actual images tied to the patch names. But the other thing you can do is you can actually have new 96 by 96 pixel images and duplicate this and then change its name to match the name as it shows up inside of Unify. And now this patch glowing silicone, boom, has the artwork for Radioactive attached to it. So now it's Radioactive. Right? So here's Radioactive glowing silicone, and compared to where we started. Different, but I actually don't like this as much because there's a little detuning and stuff, whereas this has a little bit more in tune. It's still just a nice big pad, right? You know, so let's do one more and then we'll call it quits for the day. Let me see here. Do you guys have any comments in our chat? let's see what's going on here. What's going on here? So yeah, we're in a guru section. So what I'm doing is the signs of life. Thank you for all the hearts. I'm seeing lots of likes flying by. So that's really nice. Thank you. I'm taking signs of life. The Omnisphere version of this library had a radioactive counterpart library called Signs of Radioactive Life. So you had frogs next to really radioactive pads and so forth. So I'm making those radioactive patches for the bonus final release. I always do additional patches when I release a library. There's 8 more days left to get this library at its discounted price. And on the 9th day, or somewhere around there, I will release the bonus library with all of these bonus patches. There will probably be 20 radioactive patches. How much does it cost? PlugInguru.com is your website to aim for. And this is the radioactive library, which is right here, powered by Mother Nature. It is $29.50 right now until October 15th. So, yeah. And you can get the Omnisphere 2 version at $25 if you don't have it for Omnisphere 2. There's a lot of additional bonus patches because the Omnisphere 2 version, it had its own patches, and we actually got a whole bunch of programmers involved beyond into the GuruNation to work on it and so forth. Really, really fun. Let's do this. Let's go back to Omnisphere. And what we're doing is we're finding a patch from the radioactive library in Omnisphere and then getting inspired by it and making kind of a similar patch inside of Unify. So here is, let's find another one. Maybe we'll do a little bit more complex one. Maybe when there's some really cool key ones. Thought this would be fun to do, something like this. This would be really fast. Rain in Morning. And then I also layered it with the heavily filtered of the Dream Piano from Omnisphere. So let's get something similar to that. So let's do this. Let's go up to the pads and find Rain in Morning. Rain in Morning. Okay, so fast attack and up probably 24 semitones or 12. And then change the sample start. And it's no longer a pad, it's now a nice. And then we need to get the piano. I don't have a dream piano, but I have an intimate piano. So let's go over here to this and say intimate inside of the library that comes with Unify. And acoustic intimate. And let's right click and say load into Unify. So I want to just open it up and make sure it's just one layer, right? So I can go over here and instead of being a Unify layer, let's say replace with embedded. So now Guru Sampler is there with the piano. And let's take it up an octave. Kind of like that. Long release. Okay, it's too velocity sensitive. I don't want it to be. I want the volume to be consistent. But I want a little bit, so let's go to velocity here on the filter. For those of you curious about the velocity area of Guru Sampler, it's really unique in that you have filter cutoff and then you have a velocity control to filter cutoff. Not to the envelope, and then you have an envelope and a velocity control of that envelope. So you can use those in conjunction. If you set this to 0 and the filter down, now everything is done with the filter velocity. If you bring the filter velocity to 0, it's the same all the time. We don't do an add, which means you can pick where you want the maximum to be. And then this gives you the velocity range inside of that range. It doesn't go above this point. There's two religions when it comes to velocity modulation. Some synthesizers, velocities allowed to go above the value that you target. I don't allow that. I don't like that. Although when it comes to filter cutoff, it does. This is now going to go above your target level because you want to be able to set a resting point. So I have two different ways of the velocity working based on whether it's in the filter or whether it's over here in the filter cutoff. And if you don't want any filter envelope, you don't want any shaping or anything like that, then you can just set this to the darkest point that you want, and then how bright do I want it to get to? I want it to be brighter. And maybe for this, I'm going to put a little bit of a high pass filter in front of it. So let's go over here to EQ. Actually, Filter Max is our friend here because we have all sorts of filters we can choose. So this way it has like the attack element of the piano, but I've filtered out from 500-600 hertz down. And now that I have my tonality playing the way I want a little bit more dynamics to the volume, so I can go over here to velocity to amplitude. And I'm going to bring my attack up to 5 so that it doesn't click. Same for the pad. Let's see, how close are we to the Omnisphere version? So let's go over here. Like here, there's no attack up high because that piano just has no cutting whatsoever to it. It just kind of like sits there at a very specific frequency, whereas let's see if I'm in the right. I don't want to be too bright, so let's go over here and check one more time. That's about right. Maybe I'll turn down the piano just a little bit. Let's see, how's the envelope for the piano? And let's turn on the soloing for the, because so much is coming from here. Let's see. Let's bring down the delay a little bit. Yeah, that's about right. Nice. Okay, so this is the pretty side of Radioactive. So let's go. This is the Radioactive. What was I call it? Let's see here. Let's go cancel. This is, here. Clear. This is our. Let's see. Yes. Oh, Signs of Radioactive Life. That's right. So, Signs of Radioactive Life. Key. And it's called Fallen. We'll say What should we use instead of fall? Oh, we'll just call it Fallen because it's close enough to that one. Fallen from Grace. And it's a key sounds. What's the keyboard? Okay. And then I'll fill in the rest of this as we go. Now I'm going to copy the name, save as, and save, and go to the desktop. And I'm going to duplicate another of that same patch and give it the name Fallen from Grace. And that way now, instead of this artwork, it's Radioactive artwork. So there you go. So that is how we do our thumbnails. How about Painful Decay? Let's take a look at that real quick. That might be one that takes more than I've allotted time-wise. Painful Decay. Painful Decay. Yeah. You would pick that one. Yeah, that will take a while to do because it's here inside of Omnisphere. It's a noise with rhythm. These are really hard to do, I think, without... I was using, I believe... I don't remember what I was using, so let's take a look. Here's A. So the way it works inside of Omnisphere, you choose which layer you're working with. Oh. Right? And then you can look at the list of parameters. And it's the airplane. Yes. Are there any standards or suggestions you have when using unified synths? Dan, I'm not sure what you mean. Thank you, Ken. Good to see you. Welcome, and we'll see you next week. I don't know what you mean by standards or suggestions you have when unifying synths that have not been done yet. If you're trying to find a synth you want to save the unified patches to, I would make sure you go to our forums at forums.pluginguru.com and check in there. There's some standards there that we've done. Typically, the people that do the unifying, they use automated software to import the tags and so forth. Save the patches, send it to me, and then I have tools here that I can use to do the macro knob assignments and then propagate that to every patch. So all the patches then have, filter and envelope controls and so forth like that, unless we do them ourselves. But it used to be in the early days, I would save every patch by hand. It's all done automated now. Shane gets me the automated first pass, takes him an hour and a half or something like that to do it. So make sure you go to the forums and read about how they're being done before you get into trying to do it yourself, because I don't want you to spend days trying to save out the patches, thinking it's going to be a unified library and sending it to me, and it's the wrong format. You did it for an audio unit or something like that, because audio units don't work on PCs, so we don't do stuff like that. So I would check on the forums if I were you, please, to make sure that if anybody wants to do contributing work, we really appreciate it, but make sure that it's work that can be shared and used by everybody, And we try to use the VST2 format, although more and more, the truth is, you can't get a VST2 format plugin license anymore from Spitfire or from Steinberg. So you have to use VST3. That's why more and more plugins are coming out with VST3. Oh, Andrew, thank you. High five. Appreciate very much. Thank you, guys. Appreciate all your business. It helps me keep alive. It helps Fred. Helps. I just did royalties this last week for 15 different producers and developers that have contributed to the libraries at my website, and it's great. I love having the ability to showcase the work from Fred and sell them to you guys and introduce him to you. He's very talented and gifted, and so Wonderful stuff. So thank you to everybody. Let's do our shout outs. It's the end of the show. Shout out for me from Portland, Oregon. From Portland. I'm really excited. Right. Yeah. Yeah. The effects can be made to make things bigger than they are otherwise. Look at this. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Hi, Todd. Good to see you, man. Bright Band in Cologne, Holland, San Diego. It's just fun to have, 70, 80 people from around the world all hanging out. From Colorado, Amsterdam, Liverpool, UK, France, Colorado, Michigan. Good. Awesome. Awesome. Good to see you all. I'm glad you liked the show. We'll be back to, actually, I don't think I'm going to be doing a show. I might next week. I'm not sure. My daughter is going to be here. And so I might be doing something with her instead of doing a show. So sorry if I'm not here, but she is a priority, of course. Hey, Andrew in New York City, right on. Hit that like button. Thank you. We'll see you, if not next week, then the week after that. All right. Peace to you all. And more libraries coming. There's all sorts of good stuff coming, but Signs of Life, we've got another week at its introductory price. We've got, I believe, until the 22nd, or I might let it go to the end of the month for Fred's library. So both those libraries are on great price sales right now. And we thank you. All right. Take care. See you next week, or in 2 weeks. I'm so used to saying see you next week. All right. See you guys. Bye.